Hello everybody, happy equinox. How are you doing? Hopefully everybody's doing great today. This is one of the exciting days to read because when we have this sort of equilibrium energy, it doesn't matter whether it's a vernal equinox or an autumnal one for you, we all have the opportunity to balance things out. And I think that the selection for the special topic today was amazing because it is really about figuring out what's next in your life and then surrendering to that call. So depending on where you're at, if you're sort of soul seeking and trying to figure out soul searching, what's next, we'll help you with that. And for those of you that know, then I'll try to help you get aligned to that next step, the synchronicity. Little Apollo wishing everyone some love and light here. I'm going to put him down so he can continue his naps. Good boy, buddy. And we have some work to do together today. So if you don't know who I am, let me introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. You've joined on a perfect day. We're going to be taking a look at the week ahead from Sunday to Sunday. And again, today's special topic is surrendering to that call and really embracing whatever change or opportunity wants to sort of find its way to you. And when I was coming up with the topics, I actually really hoped this one was going to get selected because I think that, as I've said before, we can all be so much more powerful and impactful in our lives if we know who we are, what we want, and we sort of have this this filter through which we can put all new opportunities and sort of figure out, is it helping me or is it pulling me backward? So we're going to take a look at that today. If you're brand new, my format's below. I always like to go through channeled messages, a weekly forecast, 7 days. All of this is everybody that's present, you'll be able to participate and enjoy. The only portion that is sign specific is when I get into the elemental forecast, fire, earth, air, and water. Everything else that you see here, which we'll outline as we go through it, is going to be something that benefits the collective, everybody. Okay? We have a special topic that we'll look at later today, and then you can see the rest here. There's a lot of ins and outs that we'll look at, blessings and blocks, and if there's something that you're really trying to focus on getting clarity on, also wait until the end and you can ask a silent question, and I'll pull a card then. Okay? So we're going to light the candles together today, something that I like to do on occasion. I think it's important today because we have the equinox, so let's do that, and then we'll get into the channeled messages, okay? All right, so let me just grab my match here, and 1 second. All right, so let's begin by connecting to source energy. One really easy way to connect to source energy is just to imagine that the sun is shining on you, or if you want to be sort of more visual, you could just imagine that there's a spotlight shining down. And as you close your eyes and take a deep breath, I want you to really feel this sort of warmth and light and lightness of being too, almost as if it wasn't just a light bulb, but it was taking away any heavy emotions or energy or even any physical pain that you might be feeling. So as you close your eyes, let's connect to the source. The source is whatever you call God or consider that sort of divine energy. So let's welcome that in today and say thank you so much for allowing us to have time today to be present. Thank you very much for bringing in the light, showing us what we need to be seeing, and on this very special day, helping us find balance between the light and shadow parts of our being. And that's really what this allows for us to do on equinox. I like to call on Archangel Michael to protect us, to sanctify the space and allow us to connect with only the highest energies possible. Thank you. There are many people in the world that need healing, many people that may be going through pain, people that may just need to feel better. So let's work with Archangel Raphael to bring about inner healing and growth. Thank you, Raphael, for being present. Anytime you do intuitive work, working with Gabriel is important. Archangel Gabriel come through and allow all of us to be clear channels to see through the light and the dark on this day of balance and, again, finding equilibrium. This is basically a candle for gratitude. Gratitude for all of the protection that we just called in. Thank you for hearing us and being with us even when we forget to say that or to notice it. And also for any other ascended masters or higher energies that want to come through, we'll have Archangel Gabriel be the channel for that, but thank you very much. one last candle, and because I tend to forget, by the time we get to the end, let's do this here. If you have any prayer or intention that you would like to either see come through in the cards or just have answered later, close your eyes for a moment, focus on that, and know that your intention has been heard. And now let's just focus on receiving the messages and information around that. All right, nice way to begin, right? Let's take a look at the slides that I've prepared. What we're going to do first is take a look at the channeled messages. These come through in dreams, meditations, and for me yesterday, just a really kind of spiritual experiences I had when I was taking a hike. So I'm going to feature some images that I took on that. You can see some more on Instagram if you want to. So let me go ahead and put together that keynote and we'll get started. And what was kind of cool with this too is what I was focusing on is not just the equinox, but also this sort of wildflower energy. So I'm going to talk about a couple. I saw some poppies and what looked like sunflowers or daisies, but doesn't really matter what the wildflowers are. There is this sort of general message here of being free and being able to sort of exist without having people control you. So it's very much the energy that I would associate with the Fool, for instance. And maybe even the Star. There are certain things that don't fit in neat or tidy boxes, and the wildflowers are among those. They just want to sort of be where they want to be. And it's something that you should protect, is that sort of spirit, that free spirit. All right, so when I was looking at these daisies and sunflowers on my hike yesterday, and this is my video that I took here, I just felt this. Well, what came to me was an old song like Let the Sun Shine In, but it's also this sort of feeling of being a sun catcher. I think we all have that ability to capture the light in our lives, to inspire others, to sort of be like these little lanterns, which is what they look like to me as I was sitting there and pausing on my hike. And I'm sure people were thinking like, why is he on the ground taking pictures of flowers? But that part of me hasn't changed. When I was a kid, I used to make my parents stop the car so I could look at like wildlife or wildflowers or like just enjoy, and God bless them, they did. But anyway, so I'm still doing that as an adult. But as I was looking at these flowers dance in the breeze, a couple things came through. Creation is a dance. I didn't even put this in the slide, but this is what's kind of coming to me right now. But creation is a dance. Sometimes you're leading, sometimes the universe is leading you. The important thing, like these beautiful wildflowers, is just to be able to move with the energy around you. If you are too rigid, if you have to stand in like one spot and not move, life's going to move around you. So this week in particular, but also there's a timeless portion to the special topic that we'll be looking at. It's going to be just important for you to be flexible and to know how to bend, know how to sort of be like a willow tree that can bend with the breeze and not necessarily break, okay? Also, there's this sort of divine masculine energy as I was looking at all of the golden and yellow colors that I saw yesterday. This reminds us the importance of bliss, of joy, coming out to play, all the things that we would associate with the sun, with the light that these little wildflowers are capturing. This is a wild California poppy. It basically helps us find our power and reminds us that we are a magnet. We're connected to source, but we're also our own source. So as we look at both of these flowers, this one in particular was just beautiful because it was capturing the sunlight. And this, it was a reminder that we can move. And this other one was also showing me that literally like a lantern, we can shine from the inside out and also kind of bring things into existence in our life. So all of this is happening at equinox. And I know some of you are in colder parts of the world where maybe we haven't seen the signs of spring yet. I know that the southern hemisphere is going not into vernal, but autumnal equinox. It doesn't matter whether we see snow or grass or a desert. It doesn't matter right now because the energy on the planet's the same. The rest of that stuff is just window dressings, right? So what's going on right now is there is this nice equilibrium between light and dark. And as light workers, we have to recognize shadow energy and move through it. We can't be afraid of it. We have to shine the light right directly on it so we can understand what it is. And so this gives you a chance to find balance in your life. And this is the most sort of balanced time in which you can begin something new. We just got through a full moon, so starting to ease, and now we can start to see things a little bit clearly, a little bit more clearly. So you may still have a little bit of heavy energy that you're working through, but it's easing now. So I would say over the next week or so, you should be able to find your balance. So I kind of like to look at this as a bird's eye view. One of the things that I like to do when I'm hiking is to look at the city that I live in, a different perspective. One thing that we can look at in our lives, as if we were walking that 10 of Wands hill behind us, is to sort of decide, am I done with this grudge? Why am I still afraid of this? I know I might always be uncertain, but am I willing to invest in myself? This anger that I feel, can I just let it go and replace it with something better? All of these things that you're holding on to, the reason I featured 2 of Pentacles here is you have to decide, is this worth the trade-off here? Or could I let this go and focus on this instead? There's a hidden ace basically there. And I want you to take that ace and plant a new seed. And this is the time to do it. Even if you were living in the southern hemisphere and you're going into fall, this is a time where you would plant like springtime bulbs, right? So for the following year, you want to make sure that they're going to get in there before the winter strikes. You still want to prepare things, even if you were like a farmer. There'd be certain things that you would do in preparation. This is still a period of adjustment. So that's why I'm saying I don't care if there's snow or if it's dead or if you see a lot of life. The energy of change is what we're focusing on. And it's a subtle change when you're in spring and fall. So these are my favorite 2 seasons, actually. So I want to recognize all my fellow viewers that are in the Southern Hemisphere. It's still a really fun time. My birth sign is under Libra, so I always love the autumn because it reminds me of just happy times. So whether you're shifting from one to another, it doesn't matter. For those of us going into spring, it gives us that sense of renewal. For those of us going into autumn, it's release. It's preparing for something different. So it's just 2 different sides of the same coin. There's movement and shifting, whether you're easing into or out of. Either available energy is there for you today. It's really just a choice of what you need to do, okay? Be the light that shines. Embrace the light that finds its way to you. That latter piece is actually the hard part, because sometimes when we work on ourselves and then we create a synchronicity and we become magnetic for something positive, we recognize it and we think, it really can't be here for me, can it? If you've done the work, it's here for you. And that's really what this message is, kind of reminding us, and it's all about. All right, so the wildflower thing that I was alluding to earlier. You need room to grow, and you might find it difficult to fit into the tiny box that others want to sort of put you into. One thing that I could pull in tarot that would be close would be Hierophant reversed, which is, I know I should do this, I know this should make me happy, I know this is what is expected of me, but it's not me. And that's okay. This could also be like the Star reversed, which is, I am trying to change myself to, or even the 6 of Wands reversed. I'm trying to make others appreciate me, and I'm trying to mold myself to make others sort of see what they want to see. But who are you? What is your true mold? Maybe you don't even exist in one. Maybe part of what you do is sort of like you're a change maker, or you shake things up. Give yourself the freedom to try, the flexibility to learn from your mistakes, and the patience to see your dreams take root and grow. It's that last piece that's important and came to me like just minutes before I was going live today, which is why it takes me a couple minutes, because I'm preparing these slides up until the last minute. So give yourself that freedom to just see what happens. I think many of us who are former perfectionists or are just really afraid of change, there's this phrase that I really dislike, by the way, which is the devil you know. The devil you know, my friends, is still a devil. Why not try something different? Because what is the devil card but it's control, it's an anchor, it's the inability to be yourself. It's not a deal that you want to make. It's not a thing that you want to live in. So the devil you know is still a devil. Walk away from it. Try something different if your heart says you want to try something different. But in order to do that, you have to liberate yourself and say, maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. But at least I will never look back and wonder, what if? And then once you try something, you may not hit it out of the gate immediately. That doesn't mean that you stop trying. Learn from those mistakes. And then be patient. It may take longer than you thought. That piece is probably the most frustrating because a lot of us just wish that it would happen yesterday, right? All right, so follow your own North Star. Because I was looking at sunflowers, there were some daisies, but also sunflowers yesterday. They have this interesting trait called heliotropism, which is younger sunflowers will, throughout the day, kind of follow the path of the sun in the sky. So there is this sort of inner calling that we'll be looking at later today that some of you might be following, and that's good, but don't necessarily just follow others. Remember that you are the light, or you are the the sort of sun catcher. So once you've got that light, do something with it. This is a time to follow your own lead, I guess is the best way I could put it, but not necessarily follow others. Reciprocity is really, really important as well. I've talked about this before, but if we go into the myth or the sort of origin story of sunflowers, there is this. There's a story about this water nymph who fell in love with Apollo, the sun god, and she sat there and kind of gazed at the sky, followed him, and eventually she just stopped eating and drinking, and the gods took pity on her and transformed her into a sunflower so she could sit there and watch. But I think we can learn from this water nymph, and you don't want to give all of your power to someone or something that isn't reciprocating. This someone or something, it could be a job. It could be a job where you give 110 or 150% and you're not getting supported in either, the wages that you deserve or the title that you deserve. It can be a relationship where you're putting in all of the energy and the other person's just happy to receive but not necessarily giving back. It could also be something that you're not seeing any return on and you think, what am I doing? And this is a chance for you to understand that all of that passion can go into something that will actually bring a return. So when we're looking at the sunflower energy, there's beauty, but there's also that sort of warning to make sure that there's a reciprocity and that there's also some sort of fulfillment for you in what you're doing. I don't want you to just be on the sideline. I want you to be the sun. I want you to be Apollo, not just the nymph. Okay. Consistency is going to be the last thing that we'll be focusing on. That poppy that we saw dancing around, it's very well adapted to California weather, which we go months actually here in California without seeing rain, a drop of rain sometimes. It can be 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, a long time actually. And then we'll get a bunch, but then it's actually kind of weird for Southern California folks when we get rain, because it's basically almost a desert region. We're by the beaches, but there's a lot of lack of water here. So the flowers that are naturally growing, like when I take my hikes, I see cacti, I see succulent, I see things like the wildflowers here that I featured, the California poppy. But most of them, there's not much rain, so they really, the poppies have a taproot, just like a carrot is what you want to picture. So they dig that taproot deep into the soil, and whatever water they're able to store in there, they store. So for you have to be persistent, patient, and consistent here, and kind of like put your roots down and say, I'm going to see this through. And so just like these drought-tolerant flowers that I kind of took a look at the other day, you can weather any storm, and you know that the rain is going to come eventually, and you're going to be ready to thrive when that portal opens for you. So, for some of us, we want to see it right here, right now, and when it doesn't show up, we think, what am I doing wrong? What do I need? You just need patience and consistency. That's the number one thing. Whenever you start a new task in your life, sometimes you just feel like you're working in a vacuum, or you're kind of, talking to yourself. That's a very natural misperception or misconception, but sometimes we just feel like we're on our own, and I get it. It's going to be okay, and it is okay. All right, so let's take a look now at what we're going to look at next. We're going to do the 7-day forecast, and I'm going to switch around with a few different decks today. Let me see what is calling to me. I think I did the Tarot de St. Croix last time, but I might do that again just because I really like the bright colors of it. And then as we go into the main forecast today, I'm going to pull some that we haven't used in a while. So let's start with the Tarot of St. Croix. I've just enjoyed this one lately, and it has beautiful sunflower energy on it on the front. That's why it's kind of calling to me. So we'll go with that to begin with. All right, so the 7-day forecast that I'm going to talk about right now is going to take us from Sunday to Sunday, and just let's take a look at the energy here, and remember that everything that we're kind of engaging in is all free will and empowerment. So you have the potential and the possibility to either embrace what you see here or to decide, hey, I want to make some changes. So suffice it to say, you're in the driver's seat here if you'd like to be. All right. So a quick note, if you're brand new, hit the like and subscribe. If you want to see some of those pictures that I posted, you can find me on Instagram and other social media platforms. The links are here. Thanks already. I see we have a lot of folks that have given back, so thank you for giving back. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the forecast. I'm going to pull the camera overhead, and we're going to look at Sunday to Sunday. All right, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We've got some big changes coming through this week. And next Saturday and Sunday. Okay, give me a moment to grab a glass so I can get some water here. I'll let you look at the cards while I'm doing that, and I'll be right back. So while I'm getting my water poured here, the card that we'll be focusing on first is the Five of Cups, and this is for today. The card is reversed, and with the Five of Cups, there's always an opportunity for us to decide, do I want to focus on what I see, what has been done, possibly what hasn't come to fruition the way that I expected, or am I going to focus on something that I want, something that I can control, something that is on the horizon? So in this equinox energy today, I think this one makes a lot of sense to look at first. So I really love how it almost looks like shadows on these chalices that have kind of spilled in the background. This is a card of mourning, by the way. So sometimes a necessary step before we can go into something new is to say, you know, I have to process this. I know that I should just be able to move on, but I need to process this. So give yourself the proper time to deal with change. Each and every one of us deals with ambiguity in a different way. The important thing to look at with this is we have two cups in the upright position in the background. There's always love and support. There's always a blessing in disguise on the Five of Cups. This person's not yet ready to receive. And I think that, gosh, it's important for you to sort of think about really opening up. And this is that second or third to last slide that I had that said you have to give yourself patience to see things come to fruition. So I think there could be an opportunity or more than one opportunities around you where it's sort of the universe is knocking and saying, do you want to do this? Or how about this? Or I value you for this. And something inside needs to unlock today. Today's the day to do it, especially since I looked at the timing. It was almost at 8:30 here, at least where I live, where the equinox hit. So we're in the energy of it right now. So right now you can say, I'm going to release this, because one thing that starts to happen from this point forward is whatever you invest in, you're going to have a little bit more of that. Because now, after today, things start going in another direction. So you want it to be a stronger sort of pull. Again, you're going to have a little bit more darkness in the southern hemisphere, a little bit more light in the northern hemisphere. So we go into the sort of imbalance energy. But if we use that in our favor, which is really what this equinox is giving us a chance to do. So I'm letting go of this and I'm choosing this. Then the movement, remember the flowers that we're dancing, the movement's going to push us in that other direction. And then we can get further away from the stuff that we don't need. So this is your moment to decide this week, today, before we get closer and closer to, the next season. You've got about a quarter of the year, 3 months to really make this next big shift. But right now is the deciding time. So I'm encouraging you to focus on the positive, the possible, the opportunities, whatever might be knocking on your sort of like proverbial door. So just open up right now and think, all right, I'm going to give it a shot. If not now, then when? And what am I really afraid of? Okay? Today is an inner searching day for you, soul searching day, understanding who you are, what you are, etc. Why is that important? Because Monday is when the magic happens. For those of you that are already into Monday, there still could be a little bit of this fear energy that's entering in. So I want you to move past that, because Tomorrow looks amazing here. The Two of Wands for Monday is a power card and a sort of like a change opportunity for you. You can really shift from one direction to another. So I also love how this one isn't even on Earth. It's sort of like way beyond the beyond. So I want you to, well, I'm encouraging you to give yourself the freedom to go way out on a limb. Shirley MacLaine wrote a great book in the late, it was the 80s, 90s, Out on a Limb. It's not that radical by today's standards, but I like that line. And I just came to her when she was going through her kind of recollection of what was going on. But we have to put ourselves out there on a limb sometimes, which means that we may not know if the branch can hold us. We may not know if we have enough energy to support ourselves. We may feel very visible, but you have to go way out on that limb when it's a dream, a goal, or an aspiration. And when you do that, and when you really believe in yourself, you're going to be okay. But it is just that inner question of, do I believe in myself enough to do this? Do I see this enough and clearly enough to explain it to others so that they understand it? Do you have your elevator pitch ready for whatever it is that's next in your life? So if someone says, what would you like to do? Maybe it's a career conversation with a person that's in charge in your life, and they say, what would you like to do on this project? What would you like to do in 5 years? Maybe it's your parents pushing you with that question. It could also be a decision that's in front of you, like you have to decide, do I want to buy this property right now? Do I want to say yes to this engagement that's in front of me? Maybe someone proposed. If you don't know what you want, then you get paralyzed by fear. So do the soul searching today, and then tomorrow, figuratively and literally, because this you can use this little piece at any point. Decide today, and tomorrow really embrace it and then move forward on that, okay? Good day for planning, good day for pitching ideas, good day for deciding to revise things to fit your perspective a little bit more. A powerful time for thoughts to manifest, which is why I've been harping and sort of pushing so much on you to really decide who you are and what you want, so that fear doesn't enter in here thinking like, it won't happen, I can't do this. It's because otherwise you're going to reinforce the negative thoughts. So focus on, whenever a negative thought comes through, balance it out with, well, what if this happened though? So I've talked about this before, that you can always flip a fear. So if you're afraid of failing, well, what if you succeed? If you're afraid of, not making enough money, what if you have too much opportunity, too much abundance, and then you have to hire help or something like that? Flip it around and just say, well, but maybe the opposite's happening. So let's give it a go, and let's prepare for the worst, but also prepare for the best too. You have to kind of make sure that you're making room for both. So good day for everything. Really, Monday's going to be great. But if you expect the worst, you'll probably see it. If you expect the best and you prepare for the best and you explore the best, lo and behold, manifestation stepping in, and you're going to open up the door. Okay? Tuesday looks great. Emotions could run high. You want to be careful on Tuesday not to get overzealous. Let's put it that way. The Nine of Cups is, generally speaking, a really good card. She is in her zone. She's having fun. All the angels are filling up the cup here. But in reverse, it can sort of feel like, the Chicken Little, the sky is falling. Or what will people like, you can kind of go into your head and it's like snowballing or an avalanche of fear or joy. So I would say just pull back a little bit. If there was ever a day to meditate, to take care of yourself, to do some self-care sort of things, this is the day. So exercise, getting enough sleep, meditating, anything that you can do to ground yourself in reality just a little bit, because emotions could be pulling you way up high or way too low. So just finding the middle ground is going to be important. In everyday life, this can also mean that if you're trying to explain something to somebody, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's someone older in your life, they could be very depressed, they could be very excitable. There could be someone in your life that they're so excited and so focused on their own thoughts that they're not listening to a darn word that you're saying. So Monday would be a better day to have a difficult conversation. Tuesday, support yourself, support others, and take a break. That's really what I'm getting at with this. Find an outlet for this too. So if there's a lot going on, I'd first of all probably reduce caffeine and anything, or alcohol. So anything that would take you too high or too low. breathing is better, taking a break is better, and probably just taking a little bit of time by yourself would be better. Ground this energy and bring it to earth. Midweek is great. We have the Six of Wands. I don't care if it's upright or reversed, it's still success. So the card was reversed, but one thing that I would say for you is to try not to feel like you have to make everybody happy in your life. Because the irony of the Six of Wands, whether it shows up upright or reversed, is that you can do this and you're going to do okay. But when it's reversed, we sometimes do, the wrong thing for what we think is the right reason or something. So I want you to really feel like anything that you're aligned to, you feel it, see it, and believe it, mind, body, and spirit. There's no getting around something that just doesn't feel right, okay? So be authentic, don't give in to peer pressure, and don't try to sort of like overly please someone. You're doing more than enough, okay? This is a good day to negotiate. This is a good day to be seen. You may want to retract a little bit, but people are there for you. I think this is like midsummer on this particular illustration, but I like that we see the candles and the light and the exchange of that. And I think that one of the things that you can do today, or not today, but like on Wednesday, is to exchange ideas. And it might be a good day to solicit feedback on something, whether it's an idea that you're thinking like, hey, I'd like to move, or hey, I'd like to try this, or legitimately there's a contract or a project or a proposal that's in front of you and you're thinking, all right, I need to get some insight on how this is going to hold up. Let's talk to some people that I truly trust. You can make anything a little bit better if you'd like to on Wednesday. It's just a great day for improvement, okay? But you have to stay true to yourself and don't give in to peer pressure. Constructive criticism is a yes, peer pressure is a no. Big change happening for many of you as you get towards the end of the week. Thursday is, I love this particular death card because it's an opportunity. It's not something to fear. We see the skeleton with the skeleton key dancing through the portal of birth, change, renewal, opportunity. In order for you to try something brand spanking new, you're going to have to really be the one that reaches for it. So some of you are going to say, I need to move on from this. So it could be quitting. It could also be saying, I love this person or I love this opportunity and I'm going to propose. So you're the one that's holding the key, but the key to me is either opening or shutting something, and it's going to be better for you. But you're the change agent. There is no angel of death on this one. You're the skeleton dancing around, having a good time, holding the skeleton key and deciding, am I going to turn the key and the door today? Is this the day that I'm going to do it? If not, I don't know when the portal will open again. So I would go for it if you feel good. Death is transformation, is movement, is growth. It's all the same energy. There's just not that many words that people can fit on this card. I do wish that the general word was transformation, but death is good because it grabs our attention, right? So Thursday, something has to give, something has to start, something has to move. The only thing that could cause maybe you to take a step backwards would be stagnation on Thursday. So I think that the main thing is, how am I growing? Where am I going? Am I ready to make the move happen? And Thursday looks like a great day to do that. Friday is a day where some of you may be fearing like, oh my gosh, this is really happening. Sometimes when we manifest, it's a little scary to see it happen, but you've earned this opportunity. So everything prior to this has been pretty good. What we see here is a change of perspective and love and support. We see you working your magic here. We see you pretty excited, pretty open, a lot of sort of creativity and emotion flowing through. We see success. Everything here tells me that as long as you're focusing on the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday energy, I really feel like the door that you're opening, the change that you're making is fine. So as we go to Friday, Nine of Swords, try not to give in to fear. Try to walk away from any sort of energies where people are reinforcing that fear. Take care of yourself. If you've been working too hard, Nine of Swords can be fatigue that leads to, let's face it, just not being able to focus or concentrate. A lot of times when we're just tired or fatigued, it's sort of like we're not making any sense. So this is a day, if ever there's been a day for you to sort of take a break, I would say it's even stronger than Tuesday. So just breathe and just focus on something different. A lot of times with Nine of Swords, it's just one fear after another, and it kind of like builds. So for those of you that do have someone in your life that you can talk to, talking to a friend, hanging out with a friend would be good. If you wanted to ever talk to a therapist, counselor, or an advisor, that would be a good day to get some advice. Let someone else sort of like clear this out and help you realize that it's going to be okay. So I just see fear and fear of change entering in. Once you've done this, the kind of freedom with this sometimes is there's no looking back. So just be kind to yourself and realize that by the time the weekend comes around, you're feeling a lot better. Saturday's energy is the Queen of Pentacles, and that is great. So this is actually, even though we don't normally associate Saturday with business or productivity or resources, the Queen is saying all of these things are coming through for you. So if you do want to do a little bit of work or something productive in your life that's going to help you, you'll get a big return on the energetic investment that day. It's also the card that rules house and home. So do something kind for yourself where you live. You know, maybe it's a day where you're going to decide I need to buy some spring flowers, or I'm going to paint this room, or we're going to weatherproof this for those of you going into autumn. Do something where you're taking care of the place that you live, or the place that you work, or the people that are around you. That Queen of Pentacles can also be children in your life, parents in your life, or your spouse, because it is a maternal card. So it's the people that either love you or that you love, but in that sort of very kind, intimate sort of way. So there you go. Good day for productivity, good day for nurturing relationships. Speaking of relationships, as we take a look at Sunday, we have the Two of Cups. It is reversed, but it's still a welcome card to appear here. The reversal of this is basically saying, am I getting what I need out of this? Am I ready for this? Also, do I feel worthy for this? There's no wrong answer to any of those, but what you hopefully are feeling is, I'm ready, I'm worthy, and yes, I will receive that. If something comes through where it feels like it's not good enough for you, the timing is wrong, or that you're not ready, it would be better to speak with honesty and also inquire about people's motives is what's coming to me. So if you're not certain, ask. And a lot of times people aren't prepared to be asked. So it's a very telling moment when you can kind of read their face and see, how do they feel about this, right? Overall, when I take a quick glance at everything on the table, I'm happy with where the energy is taking you for the week ahead. Your power days are really like Monday is an amazing day and Wednesday. So if you have to get anything done, if you have to make any changes, if you have any difficult conversations, Monday and Wednesday are the best. The most exciting day and the one I'm interested in is Thursday because it feels like you have a breakthrough. Death can also just be that. Something that you've been waiting for finally breaks through. And then I really love next weekend. I think it's a good time to prioritize relationships, or if there's something that you're passionate about, you're going to really hit it out of the park with the energy there. The perspective days are today and also on Friday, because both give you a chance to focus on the best or the worst. All right. Overall, good. I actually say great energy. All right. So let's take a look at what's next. We're going to take a look now at blessings and blocks. I want to go for an older deck that I haven't used here, and maybe this is one that I'll let you vote for in a moment. So just give me a second to go here where I keep my decks. We'll pull this out. This one's on my website, and I can't remember the name of it right now. I'll look at it if we decide to vote. But Dakota and Maria can put a link to this one. Okay, so right now we're going to be focusing on blessings and blocks. Blessings and blocks are just like they sound. They're opportunities to embrace possibilities. We got the Six of Cups here. This is great. So that's your blessing card. And this is your block. This is kind of like an Arthurian themed deck. It's kind of fun. All right, so let's take a look at the blessing here. So the blessing this week is love, relationship. Also, for some of you, it could be deciding to rekindle a friendship from the past as well. It can also be healing energy with siblings. Six of Cups is a lot of things. The typical illustration on the Six of Cups would be two children, a boy and a girl, and they're giving like flowers to each other or a cup to each other. And it's basically, it starts with friendship and like really sweet love, I would say. So when some of you have been trying to pull in something higher, a higher love, the Six of Cups is something great to aim for, because that's like friend and lover. And in friendship, the Six of Cups is cool because it can be like friend and brother-sister energy too. So it's the thing that bridges the best of both worlds. You get the friendship, and then you either get the intimate relationship that you would with a lover, or the really close bond that you would get with family. So when we look at this, all of those types of relationships that I just talked about would benefit from investment this week. So if you want to put a little bit more focus on your sibling energy, your love energy, your old friend energy, then this is what we're seeing here. There could be someone coming in supporting you when you least expect it. Isn't that a great feeling when someone has your back? Maybe you get to have that opportunity to step in and be there for someone else. And then we see a fast friend and hopefully a deep friendship that develops from that. So yeah, I see something cool coming through that could be unexpected, but could lead to something nice in the long run, okay? If you're seeking higher love, keep broadcasting on that highest frequency and saying, you know I could find just anyone, but I'm not looking for just anyone. That means that I'm going to be patient. I'm ready now. I'm not worried if I don't see it immediately, because I can feel what it will be like to be with that kind of person, okay? So if you're trying to manifest, just trust in the timing and look around and say, well, maybe it's in a different sort of time, shape, or form than I thought, so let me be open, because this is showing that the time is near, okay? The block this week is exactly what I talked about with the wild flower. So we have the Hierophant in reverse. And so for many of you, you're feeling like there's only one way to do this, but there isn't. So if we were to reverse this card, basically you have to think way outside of the block and the box here. The block is the mental block, and the box is the sort of like cookie cutter that everyone wants to kind of put you into. If you could only do this, it's the conditions. The conditions on the devil card, the devil energy, the devil you know. Because the devil you know is still very conditional. I love you, but why haven't you done this? Are you going to do this? What have you done for me lately? We talked about that in one of my recent readings. So no more conditions. Walk away from conditional energy. Look for people that truly have your back, no matter what, or especially because you're doing something that is contrary to expectations. Okay? All right. So let's see. I'm going to go shopping in my decks and find another one that we haven't used for a while. And we're going to move along to the next portion of it. So we just looked at blessings and blocks. Now we're going to go to the elemental forecast. The elemental forecast is fire, earth, air, and water. So I want to pick a good deck for this. Give me a second. Okay. Prisma Visions. I haven't used this in a long time, so we're going to use Prisma Visions for this and see what's coming through. All right, I'll turn the camera down just so you can see each and every card being pulled, and then afterwards, we will take a look at each element one by one, okay? Fire, earth, air, and water. Okay, so let's take a look at fire first. Fire signs, we have the Six of Wands in reverse. Let's look at the card upright here just for a second. The Six of Swords in reverse. So the Six of Swords in reverse, I love because it's actually a chance for movement to happen in your life. We see here the winds of change that are blowing. So for all of my friends out there that are in a winter climate, here you go. You're represented by the cards right now. I love that we see the butterflies right there over top of the bridge, and we see the beautiful sort of 1970-esque wind up there, the clouds that are moving here. So the winds of change are moving, but are you ready to take the first step? So a traditional card would show the Six of Swords, and you would be in the water, and you would see someone rowing and someone that's a passenger. We see the bridge, but you have to take the step. It's very much kind of attached to the skeleton key energy that we see for you, right? So for all, again, we're looking at fire right now. So for my Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, it feels to me like when you get into the 4th day of the new week, so we're looking at Thursday, that's where the big shift happens for you. That's where you have to decide, am I ready? Can I do this? The Six of Swords is also a card of grieving, grieving what has been lost in our life, maybe an opportunity, maybe a person, maybe a part of ourself that we needed to kind of like walk away or release in order to move forward. But when the grieving's done, then you're heading towards a new horizon. I was just rewatching a silly movie from the early 2000s, which seems quaint now with technology. It was like You've Got Mail. There was this piece in there where one of the lead characters has to close down her bookstore or whatever. And one of the ladies there said basically, you are doing something so brave. You're imagining a future that could be different from where you're at right now. You're walking into the unknown. You don't necessarily have a plan. You may not know what's next, but it's brave to face change, to say goodbye to something. And so for all of my fire signs out there, if there's something that you need to release, you may see it as quitting, you may see it as failing, you may see it as not doing something good enough, fast enough, etc. But whatever's happening right now, it's basically the universe saying, you just graduated. So if you could just look at the week ahead as a graduation opportunity for you, get across that bridge and see what's on the other side. The wind is pushing you there. To go counter to the wind may actually make no sense because you could be digging in for the wrong reasons. So make sure that if you're given a chance to walk through a new doorway, don't say no until you look and see what's in that door, okay? So I see movement, a lot of movement coming through for fire signs this week. And I think that's exciting. And I think if you frame up the change in that sort of light, it'll be good. You may need a little bit of time away from someone or something because this is a card of distancing. So if you've been given an opportunity, ask for more time. So if you're being asked to decide on a job, make sure you have at least a day, if not a week, to make that decision. Usually if they really want you for something, they give you time to decide. I know it's harder with houses and moving and things like that, but the more time you have and the more distance you have, the more you're going to figure out you outside of the stress of the situation, okay? So overall, pretty good, but there is this sort of movement, and again, needing to possibly get away from the sort of minutia of whatever's going on in order to kind of have a mental click and an epiphany and a decision to take sort of form in your mind. Six of Swords, you could also be moving, traveling, or someone could be coming into your life. I say that because we had in the blessings the Six of Cups. So there could be someone coming in or someone moving out. There's movement. It's an exciting time for fire. So move with that wind, the wind of change, and see what happens with that. Okay. Let's go ahead now and take a look at our earth signs, which are Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. We have the Four of Cups. Hello. Looks very familiar to what we were looking at with the Five of Cups. So Four of Cups is usually the universe saying, hey, things are better than you think. They look a little bit better than you might realize, but you're looking in the wrong direction. So you have a chance to focus on something that could be it's like a low-hanging fruit with the Four of Cups. So I feel like there's either someone or something that's kind of saying, hey, over here, but you have the blinders on, or you're comparing your progress to someone else, and there could be a lack of fulfillment or a lack of confidence because you think, but they're further, but they're happier, but they're this, they're that. We don't know the truth because a lot of it nowadays is projected and constructed. So I think the most important thing for you to realize is I'm exactly where I need to be. You're exactly where you need to be right now. And if there's something more that you want, reach for it because as we looked at the energy around Monday, you can manifest it pretty quickly, right? So I think that's something to think about for you. And hopefully that will kind of help with that. Don't give in to disappointment. Don't give in to comparison. Don't give in to any of the energies that make you feel like, it's just not happening, is it? Because those thoughts manifest. think instead that it's happening, but I bet you I can make this happen faster. What if it happens next week? Or what if I'm surprised by how much I can do, right? Four of Cups tells me that there's always a blessing in disguise. So this particular month, you just may not be able, or this particular week as well, you just may not be able to fit other people's expectations, but it's probably exactly where your heart and soul need to be in this moment in time, okay? So let's move on to our air signs. Two of Swords, and Two of Swords doesn't bother me. I know maybe some readers it does, but the Two of Swords is just indecision. So we have the Two of Swords in reverse coming through for you, which to me tells me finally there's some clarity. I'm going to choose this because I may not have all the information, but it feels right. I'm ready to take the blinders off and take a stab at this, quite literally. I'm going to see what happens. So Two of Swords is one of the few cards that I'm happy when it comes through in a reverse state. It is just about enlightenment, a decisive move, and understanding that sometimes, even though we want it to be perfectly clear on paper, it's not going to be. So I feel like it's sort of like you're in a shade of gray right now. It's not black and white. And as long as you make a choice and make a move, follow your North Star, be the wildflower, all the things that we've been talking about, then you'll have an ace. Just like we could take that Two of Pentacles back in my original presentation and you can get an Ace of Pentacles. When you finally lay down one of the swords and go down a path, you have an ace and it's powerful. An ace is a new opportunity. What are you going to, like, I think this is a perfect card to come through for air because basically you have the ability to speak, communicate, and convey things with a power that maybe some other signs don't. So how are you going to use that to your advantage? If you've been moving and working and doing things so fast that you've lost your vision, lost your sort of like dream or 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plan, then get it ready because somebody's going to ask. And nothing's worse than having the opportunity present itself, but then you're not ready. So that elevator pitch specifically for my air signs is going to be ever so important. When someone says, what is this about? Why do you believe in this? What do you want to do next? Do you like this person? Or something like that. You need to have your opinion ready and just go for it. And if not, open your mouth, start speaking. You'll figure it out because you have the ability to do that. So channel if you're stuck in that moment because you've been set up for success. You've been set up for movement. That skeleton key is coming and I want to make sure that you can use it. Okay? Let's take a look at water signs. For you, there's this opportunity to finally release pain and to also choose health, happiness, etc. We have the Ten of Swords in reverse. So if I were to caption it, I would say no more pain, liberation from anything that has been difficult. All of those things would be a piece of that. There's still a little bit left though, which is it's rebound energy. So for some of you, you're thinking to yourself, have I truly overcome all of the things that set me up for that? Did I fail? Hopefully my little analogy from that old early 2000s movie helped. If you can envision a change or a new opportunity in your life, you're never failing. If you're able to step through something and still grow from it, even if it's painful, especially if it's painful, then you've gained new context. This is a week during which you want to avoid unnecessary confrontation, where you're going to walk away from things that don't have some sort of a redeeming value, where you're not going to take the bait when somebody tries to trigger you. If they send you a text, ignore it. If they, or just don't react to it, just kind of whatever it is, before you say it, do it, or act upon it, that it's not a good idea, so ignore that. Instead, take one of those swords and do something better. Lead the charge in a positive way, okay? Be an ace, be a knight, be a queen, be a king, but avoid most of the rest of the swords because you've moved beyond that. This is a graduation card. So you've gone through all of the lessons. All that's left now is to release, forgive, rebound, reimagine, okay? It can be harder for my water signs out there, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces, because you feel things deeper, right? And it's going to sit a little bit longer with you. But the minute you're able to, everything this week rather is kind of about movement and transitioning. So the minute you can transition or walk through that door, something amazing happens. So a quick little mini review, and then we're going to move on to the next portion. Let me just go ahead and make sure you can see everything. So as we're looking at all the different signs here, starting off first with my fire signs, there's a necessary sort of bridge or movement or opportunity on the horizon here. All you have to do is go with the winds of change. We see all the butterflies here. Be flexible. It's going to be fine. If you dig in and are afraid to kind of take that first step, that's the only thing that could hold you back. Earth. Things are better than they look. There's low-hanging fruit. Embrace what's coming through. It's going to be okay. Don't compare yourself to others. And if you're willing to look at things from a different perspective, you may be surprised at how things can change really quickly. Air signs. You just have to make a choice. You just have to use your voice. Action, communication, decisive energy will get you through any challenge that comes your way. And because you're blessed with more communication skills, you can just kind of ease into anything even if you don't have the preparation done. Just trust and tap into your inner soul and just let it flow through. And then again, for water, the challenge this month for you is not to take the bait, to move forward and to make sort of like an example of how things should look or should be. Other people in your life sometimes just can't. They can't meet you on the level, so you're going to have to lead the charge and just be the better person, take that high road and do something amazing, because it is a time for you to be happier, healthier, and to rebound. Okay? Beautiful messages across the board for all the signs. Okay, so let me clear up my table real quick and let's get ready for the next portion here. So we've gone through the channel messages, the 7-day forecast, blessings and blocks, and the elemental. So let's take a look now at the reader's choice and see what messages are coming through here. Okay, so reader's choice. Just cleared the cards, but I remember what we were talking about. So give me a second here to type this up. So the one card that really stuck in my mind quite a bit was the skeleton key, the transformation card. So what I'd like to look at for one of the options for you to vote on is embracing the winds of change. And that's basically a nicer way to look at the energy of death, but that's really what it is. And I'll put death there just so you know what we're talking about. So winds of change would be the first thing that I want to look at. Another theme that I notice quite a bit as we're focusing on the viewer's choice here would be, am I ready for like change of perspective here? So I think that I'm going to put change of heart, change. Really, there's a lot of changes in it. So we're just going to do perspective, looking at it from another angle. There we go. Looking at it from another angle. POV, point of view. Okay, so there we go. So looking at things from another angle. And I think that the other thing that I'd be really curious about are the potential for like new partnerships to come in. Partnerships, alliances, because it's not always just about love and friendship. There could be sort of a strategic alliance for you. So why don't you take a look at that and see which one works for you. While you're voting, I'm going to shift to look at something different. So for the reader's choice today, let's see what's calling to me. I want to take a look at how to stay hopeful. It's not even something that came through in the cards, but it's something that's important. And I think that as we enter into this sort of period of movement and change, that's what I want to see for you. How can you stay hopeful and be patient? Because I think the two are very similar in energy. So be hopeful, stay patient. We have the King of Pentacles coming through as an answer for this one. So for this one, you reap what you sow. And I think for many of you, this is a reminder and a nudge to be diligent and active. And again, that consistent and persistent energy that I was talking about in the final slide comes through loud and clear on this one. So what are you doing to make something happen? And I think for you, if you can each and every day make time for it, because I'm talking about hope and positivity here. So I want you to spoil yourself, because the King of Pentacles, he's known for doing that. So sometimes the King of Cups can be too, but definitely the King of Pentacles. So if you are a working dad, a working mom, if you are a caretaker, if you've gone through a really difficult period where you lost a lot and you're still working really hard and you feel like, gosh, there's so much going on. I want you to figure out, like, every day, take a little break, 5 minutes, 1 hour, I don't care. Or if you want to dedicate a whole day to it, that's fine. But if you can just do a little something for yourself each day or each week, you're going to see this sort of inner light, like the sun catchers that we were looking at, the beautiful flowers. This inner light start to ignite. People are going to notice a change in you. So do something for yourself. Spoil yourself in a positive way. Maybe it's going to school. Maybe it's reading a book. Maybe it's taking a walk and getting away from everything for an hour. An interesting thing, if you make time on a daily sort of basis, let's say you carve out 30 minutes a day or an hour a day, you put that together at the end of the week, instead of watching television or something, that's actually almost a day. If you do an entire week, that's 7 hours, but you could split it up in one day. Even if you just do half of that and do 3 or 4 hours, like by doing a half hour at a time or 45 minutes, imagine how much shifting can happen in your life. So meditation, self-care, something fun, a little bit each day. Start with 5 minutes, maybe ease it to 10 minutes, just like meditation. Pretty soon you're going to want to do a lot more, okay? Let's take a look now at what is in the lead here for the viewers portion of it. By a whopping 52%, it looks like embracing the winds of change, looking at the energy of death. So let's take a look at this, and then let's move on to the special topic. All right, so let's see what the cards have to show us here for change, for death, for movement. All right, so we have the the Four of Cups here, and this has been a common sort of theme for us today, which is a shift of perspective. So it's already happening. When I look at this one, it's already happening, but you may not be making time, energy, or giving yourself permission to see it. So I mentioned the importance of meditating. It is possible to get too much in our head sometimes, not from meditating, but maybe from overthinking, from analyzing things too much. And this Four of Cups is really saying, what do I have to fear here? If you can move through the fear element of it, then you realize that the universe is supporting you in this next step, in this next change. There could also be a helping hand in the form of a friend, a loved one, or strategic alliance, which is one of the choices that we didn't choose, but it's kind of coming through here. So are you ready to receive the change? Are you ready to receive the opportunity? Because it's already coming through. Let me look at one more. I'm going to clarify this because to me this seems like it's a past thing. I'm not going to go through present and future. Just one more card because this is a really important piece here. The last one helps us make an even smarter decision here. So here we have Six of Pentacles. It came through reverse. So for many of you, in order to make the change happen and to sort of like sit with that change a little bit easier, you could be reorganizing your time and energy, but you could also just be deciding no to this, yes to this, and saying no more. Say yes to the opportunity, say no to some of the fear, and make room in your resources. For those of you that feel like I'm too old, or I don't have the time, or I don't have the energy, or I don't have the support, where are you putting some of the time, energy, and money in your life that isn't returning it? Saying no to some of that and trying and putting a little bit more towards the task at hand, I think could help. So you have support, nudge, permission from the universe to let someone down, to let something go, to say goodbye to someone or something, because that in and of itself will help you have a little bit more. And there's more than meets the eye. That's basically what I see here. So if there's anything that kind of like entices you about the change, you could also be thinking, wow, this is really cool. There is more. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Okay? All right. So I'm taking a look here, and I think today, just because I really want to focus on the equilibrium of stuff, I'm going to use the Light Seers deck for the next portion. It's good. It resonates with everybody usually, so we're going to work with that, and let's get started here. All right, so we're going to move along now to the special topic. And the special topic here today is surrendering to the call. I'm reading it on the side. Making sure that if there's a big move or change in your life, being able to sort of like step into that. So Let's take a look at how you can surrender to the call and really make everything happen here. All right. This portion is good for everybody. Same thing with the rest of this reading, with exception to the elemental forecast. This portion is something that you can consider evergreen or like a forever useful portion of it, because we all find ourselves at that nexus of change and opportunity, and a lot of times it can be scary. So if you ever feel like you need to embrace a change, surrender to the call, that's good. The call portion of this is also important because you may have an inner call to make change happen in your life. And this is really you saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to listen to that. Okay, we've got some beautiful energies coming through for you. Again, if you just joined, we're looking at surrendering to the call, making a big move or change. I think everybody can relate to this on some levels because we all have to make changes happen in our life. Let's begin with your catalyst card, which we have the lovely forest here, but it's also an aurora borealis in the background. And aurora borealis is basically our electromagnetic field. It's like the solar winds, right, going across that, and we can kind of see the energy of the sun. I like that we see this even in the nighttime, and there's a reminder of the illusion of stillness that we have. So that gigantic star that's bigger than anything in this particular solar system that we have, it's constantly pushing out energy, heat, mass, matter, these solar winds, radiation. So there's movement. The winds of change that we were looking at, I think it was in the fire signs when I was doing the elements, definitely is coming through here as well. So even when, or especially when you feel like I'm in the dark, I don't see it. By the way, I always pull one shirt that seems to match what I'm wearing. So this is the one. Then basically, this is reminding you that it's happening, but it's subtle. So I'm always a little bit jealous, but in a good way, of my friends in Canada and Scandinavia and Iceland and anywhere where you can actually see the northern lights, because they're beautiful. So I may have the California poppies and the warm weather, but you have the beautiful northern lights. Every part of the world has something beautiful. So you can actually see the magic, the movement, the energy that the rest of us don't see. So just because you don't see it doesn't mean that the magic isn't there in your life. So I want you to believe. Basically, this card is saying, look up, figuratively and literally. Like, look up and look around. That's one of the things that can help those of you that got the Four of Cups today, to look around, because a lot of times when we change our perspective and we change our sort of decision of how something is, we actually change the world around us. How we act in it, what we are able to receive in it. And then magic works the same way. It's a belief that manifests, that reinforces. So if you can believe, you can do this. And even if you can't see it, it's happening. And when you finally believe it, then you'll see it. And one way that this is really, really easy to kind of like understand, So any of you that are in school right now or remember this, or if you read a lot, maybe this is something that resonates. Have you ever noticed when you learn a new word that it seems to show up everywhere? You'll hear it on television. You'll see it on a billboard. Someone in conversation as they're walking by will use this weird word. And you think, wait a second, has it always been around and I just didn't notice, or did I call it in? It's probably a little bit of both, because that's the crazy thing, but it's always been there, but now you're more open to it. And as you're more open to it, you start to attract it more. So magic kind of works in that way too. So for those of you that remember that when you were learning something, same thing happens if someone calls attention to a phenomenon in life or something, and then you just start to notice that that's happening. The way people talk, the way people act, the way things move. So it's all there, but we kind of sleepwalk through this particular lifetime. So open up your mind, your heart, and your energy, and you're going to see the magic everywhere. Okay? Really cool card, really beautiful, really great message. So surrendering to the call. When you believe in it, when you see it, other people will see it. It will start to kind of take on a life of its own. The one thing that could hold you back, and it's kind of telling that it's in the center of this spread, is the moon. It's fear, it's anxiety, it's territorial energy. This moon card is exquisitely illustrated because when we look at it, we see the character on here possibly giving in to the anxiety or the heavy emotions and just sort of feeling like, ugh. The other piece of it, though, is I like to sometimes imagine that she's surrendering to the light. And she's finally seeing things for what they are, and it just is kind of easy. So maybe she's floating up towards the surface, towards the light. It could be seen in either direction. Because if you flip the card here, then it's actually her almost, she's like Artemis, or kind of pulling at the moon, right? Artemis did that. So I think you have a choice to either feel like change is pulling you, or that you could be reining in the energy of change and not being afraid of it. And that's what I'm picking up on in this particular moon card. We also see the wolf and the dog at either end of this card. So as you go down your spiritual path, again, there could be more distance between you and others in your life. That's normal. You don't have to convince people to see things from your perspective. You don't have to bring everyone along for this part of the journey. It's okay. It's okay if you kind of go it alone. You may also be somewhere between what's expected and what your heart and soul is telling you to do, because that's really what the coyote or the wolf represents on this particular card, is instinct over trained energy. So the Hierophant reverse, the wildflower, and now the moon card is saying, I think I have to take a different path. I think I have to do something different. Good for you, okay? Page of Swords. I knew you guys could do it. For those of you that had a lot of swords this week, particularly, I think it was the water signs, and I don't know if the air signs had it too, but when we had a bunch of swords this week. But this card basically shows that you can take one of those ideas, those fears, those opportunities, and decide to do something with it. This particular page needs to pay attention, however. So it's a thin line here between her being able to make it and fall. She's kind of juggling too many things at once. We have that sort of epiphany in the background illustrated by the light bulbs. We have a couple of birds flying around her, some feedback, some criticism, some noise. We have the minutia with the book. And then we have the tightrope or the sword, of course, that she's tiptoeing across. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to be everything to everyone. Many of you are good at that. Good multitaskers. Good for you. You could be more effective in this week ahead or this period, because again, this portion can be used anytime you need it. If you focus, if you say, yes, I can do this, this, and this, but I would love to have one day, 1 week, 1 month where I put all of my energy into this one thing and I don't get distracted by all of this. So focus is what I'm seeing here. Also, for those of you that play a support role, especially if people that are administrative assistants, for instance, or you are maybe even the reporter or the in-between person that's taking one person's message and conveying it. You've got so much to pull together. You could use support. Get a second eye or ear on this before it goes to the next person. check for details. That's the last thing that I'm picking up on when I see that. I'm glad, if I'm going to see this card, that it's in the deep past. We have the Three of Swords. And so the one thing that could be holding you back from surrendering to the call is a little bit of healing that needs to still be done. We look at this particular heart and we can see that it has mostly mended, but there's still some strings that are stretching it and not letting it fully heal. We also see this person here that just has to kind of like get some of this emotion out. If there's anyone in your life that keeps pulling at the heartstring, keeps putting some salt in a wound, won't let you move forward, if you're doing it to yourself or if you're doing it to someone else, at some point when weeks, years, months, whatever pass by, what does it matter? What can you, this is more for people that just don't want to listen, right? Not if there's something. If you need to get reparations for something that was done to you, by all means do that. But for some of us, there's just like a disappointment. Like, I wish that would have worked, but it didn't. Or, if I only could have said this or done this. In this, it's showing that the pain is holding you back in the past. So what you can do right now is decide, today I'm going to do this. And if I don't see a return on this, then I'm going to keep moving in this direction instead. So it's just a decision to choose the path of happiness rather than to sort of continue to beat yourself up and to kind of not allow the heart to heal. All right. So there's a little bit of healing to be done. You have a choice right now to do that. So I would encourage you to let go of the pain from the past. And each one of us deals with that grieving or that release in a different way. If there's anyone that is holding those strings and saying, only if you do this will I support or love you, again, it's conditional. That's the devil and you're going to walk away from that devil because it's still the devil. Here's the single biggest block for anything. I actually think that this card is more powerful than anything in the spread when it comes to surrendering to the call. When I read for people and they ask, why can't I find the love that I'm looking for? Why do I constantly get passed over at work? Why is this happening? And I pull this card. What's happening here is disbelief. So for some of you, the plain and simple piece is that there's something going on where you think, I'm not enough. I'm not this or that enough for whatever opportunity is coming through. So Justice is waking up here and she's saying, enough now. You are enough. So for those of you that are having confidence issues, she's just coming through and saying, it's just the shadow speaking. It's just the past. It's just pain. It's just the universe giving you one last lesson before you get to rise up to a new height, because we do have the Ten of Pentacles that follow this. I do love Justice reversed because she is strong in saying no or no more or never again or not now. So use the power of no. Use the power of no to your advantage. No, I'm not going to do this. No, I didn't say that. No, we're not going to repeat this because this is what we agreed to. So use it to stand your ground. This is kind of like the poppy seed holding strong in the wind as it blew it, or the poppy rather, that was holding itself still as the wind was blowing it back and forth and saying, I'm strong enough, I'm not going to give up. There's not been a lot of water, there's not been a lot of support, but I'm strong enough. And no, you can't get away with this. So saying no in the right way, no to the things that are blocking you, no to things that are like the devil and saying, yes, I'm ready for this. Yes, because this is going to make me feel more balanced. Yes, because I've worked hard for this. And yes, I'm enough, more than enough for whatever opportunity avails itself to me. You need to find some balance in your life. And if whatever you're doing gives you the balance, it's the right thing. If it doesn't, it's not the right thing. If something you're doing makes you feel less than, the scales are going in the wrong way. If someone says that or makes you sort of feel littler, no, this is about finding balance. She's so important because we're on the day of equilibrium here, of equinox. So yes, we got to listen to it. Listen to the call of Justice here. Is it right for me? Does this bring balance into my life? And if not, why am I not saying no to it? Strongest card and the most important message today. We've now moved through present and past. Let's look at what's coming through, which is why we all tune in. So, Ten of Pentacles, what a great card to be crowning showing up what you're bringing in your ability to manifest in your headspace. This is friends, family, opportunities around you, and resources around you. I love that it's there. So I feel like you're on the precipice of a really big breakthrough. We have the Wheel of Fortune in the environment here. We have the Three of Cups. So this is success, maybe a reinvestment or an opportunity, and celebration. Yay. Big yay explanation point. That's really, really good. There is some stuff we got to talk about here with the Seven of Swords here, but the overarching energy, if we looked at your two outcome, well, this is your ability, and these are your outcomes. It's all positive, Knight of Wands and Three of Cups, celebration and movement. So yes, you deserve whatever's coming your way in respect to opportunities, abundance. And yes, it should start to get a little bit easier for you. When we look really close at this, if you can focus on that one big thing, look at the return that it's bringing. One seed brings the tree of life and then kind of seeds the rest of the energy in this card. This can be chosen family. This can be a really great sort of like support or endorsement that you get for the work or the idea or the energy that you're presenting. It looks good to me. Some of you may be entering into marriage. It's going to be fine. It's scary when you do that. And some of you may think, I can't do this. Some of you might be divorcing. It's one way or another with this. It's usually not a shade of the in-between. Whether you decide to take the leap of faith or if you're deciding to find your freedom, either way, we see support and abundance here. So you are the only person that can decide, is this right for me? But you have to believe in yourself too. Don't enter into a relationship if you don't feel worthy yet. You need to feel worthy before you say yes. Otherwise, you're setting yourself up for complications. So feel worthy, then say yes. And if something isn't worthy of you, then say no or release it. More abundance wants to come through. But you have to be Lady Justice, basically. As we look at near future, we have Knight of Wands in reverse. You're overthinking is what I'm getting with this. Probably my favorite Knight of Wands card because she marches to the beat of her own drum. We see the wild stallion in the background. She's having a good time. Again, I don't know how many sort of rebel rousers there are out there, but I am getting a lot of energy of being unusual, being singular, marching to the beat of your own drum, saying things that may not be popular but might be right. That's how change happens. If we keep doing the same old, it gets boring, right? So the things that we remember are really the things that change us the most. So don't overthink it. You know what you need to do. Go with the energy and decide what you're going to do about it, rather than overthinking like, will this work? What's going to happen here, etc. There could be a gatekeeper that won't listen, because this, as much as I love this knight, she's sitting there beating the drum. The horse has gone wild and she's stubborn. She's in her own space. So if you're telling her something, it's like in one ear out the other because there's too much noise here. So if you need someone's time and energy and they're not paying attention, focus on a better time, a better place, or a better conduit. One of the best lessons I learned from one of my bosses, and even though it's kind of like everyday knowledge for some of you, but if you are going to someone and they can't make the decision, it's the wrong person. Go around or go up a level because they don't have that final like rubber stamp ability. Yes, approved, whatever. So if they can't say yes or no, then they're the wrong person. It still may be a challenge on like, well, I've got to get their attention. Then find a different time, find a different person that could maybe get that meeting to happen. But I think some of you may be working with the wrong conduit, the wrong gatekeeper, and there should be more than one. And if there is, go to the other person or find a different person to kind of help you with that message, okay? Let's look at the next card here. All right, so we have the tricky card that came through, the Seven of Swords. Interestingly enough, this is coming up showing you. So what I think this is about is being honest with yourself, because intrinsic to the Seven of Swords is dishonesty, lies, disbelief, sometimes trying to get away with something. If you've attracted this in your life, it's because of this. It's because on some levels, you either have a challenge in saying no or you don't believe in yourself. So people come through and they're teaching the lesson that you're right, you're not worth it, or yes. And so it's just a lesson that you're going to overcome. And once you think, no, this isn't happening, and yes, I'm going to stand up, and yes, we're going to make this work, then things will shift. This can also be little white lies that we tell to ourselves. So maybe you've intended to be healthier, and maybe you're going to talk to your doctor, or you're going to change your diet, or you're going to do this or that, but you just keep thinking, I'll do it tomorrow. Make today tomorrow. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense. Take the action today. And if you're truly going to get it tomorrow, then have someone to keep you accountable for that. Say, hey, remind me to do this, and sit here while I do it to make sure that this gets done. Because this is procrastination. This can also be ignoring something, turning a blind eye to bad actions, bad actors, activity that shouldn't be happening. So you're either going to take some action, be honest with yourself, or if you're not ready, also be honest with yourself and say, I want to make a change, but I'm not doing it this month. And I'm not going to make these little promises to myself, because it kind of energetically sets up this Seven of Swords energy, which then attracts that. So be honest with yourself. That's the main thing here, and take action in the right direction. And if you're having a hard time, get someone to help you be accountable. A mentor, a teacher, a friend, a counselor, a doctor. Have someone be there with you. There's a reason that all of those different jobs exist, especially like a counselor or a doctor. They can kind of keep you accountable. If you can do that, you'll be all right. Some of you are just afraid of people taking advantage of you or things going wrong. Again, if you've set up the proper protections and the proper sort of like security net, that slide that I had a little bit earlier, let me see if I can bring it back here. It's important here, so I want to make sure I've got it. Here it is. It's giving here. This is the one that I want to highlight again. Okay, so give yourself the freedom to try, the flexibility to learn, and the patience to see your dreams take root and grow. So freedom to try, flexibility to learn, and patience, because this stuff isn't going to happen overnight. Very rarely will it happen overnight. And if you don't see it happen and then you just immediately think, oh, it's because everyone's out to get me, that's not the case, okay? That's basically what I'm seeing with this. Otherwise, it looks good. There could be some stuff in your ancestral tree or family tree where people didn't give you the best examples, but you're going to break the mold here. It ends with you, okay? Because why? Because we've got the Wheel of Fortune in the environment. Opportunities knocking. The card's reversed, but let's look at this card. I love it because we can see she's got a couple of dice hanging from her chest, and then we have all of these sort of chips that would represent this opportunity to take a calculated risk. The calculated piece is important. Don't just take risk for risk's sake. Don't be averse to all risk, but if there's something in your life where you think, the odds are stacked in my favor, and even if they aren't, I think I can navigate some of the challenges, then you can do this. We see her also kind of like pulling at the energy around her. She knows that she can give and take a little bit. It's not black and white. So I feel like there's a lot of support around you, and some of you are just ready to try something that's a little bit left of center. I did this back in 2015. I made the decision in 2014. I wish I'd made it in like 2006 or 2008 instead. But when I decided to quit my career and do something different because it didn't resonate, that was it. That was taking the chip and throwing it out there and hoping for the best. But I invested in myself and I believed in myself. And it was a rough first year, but everything else paid off after that. So it's worth it. If you really feel like you need to go for it, maybe, again, this is moving, so you can be with a partner. Maybe this is moving for a job. Maybe this is starting your own business. Calculate things, though. I didn't just jump in like the fool. I was very much calculated, and I have this much saved up so I can spend this much time, and I know that after this amount of time, I better do something to bring in more money. Like I calculated the finances, because financial freedom is soul freedom. So if you can really work on removing debt, on paying all of your sort of dues and making sure that all of your promises are met, your soul is liberated. Your heart is free. So I want you to release and cancel and get rid of all those old debts, and then go for it, because at that point you don't have anything holding you back. So Even if it means taking 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. I waited 2 years past when I wanted to do it to make sure that I had the financial responsibility to make that leap happen. So do it. It's fine. I felt good during that period because I thought, I know where I'm headed. So I'm not afraid now of what's going on around me. But I was so ready when I finally made the decision. So ready. And it was easy. So get to the point where it's easy and take that leap. It's worth it. The Wheel of Fortune also represents, like Death or the World card, a change in your trajectory. It's almost like you're cranking the wheel of a gigantic ship. So the Aurora Borealis that you can only see at night, that you can only see in the extreme hemispheres, Northern Lights, Northern Hemisphere. Same sort of thing. You may not be able to see the change, but if you keep cranking that wheel, you're eventually going to be moving in a different direction. So that's the other piece to this. Hopes, fears, and opportunities. We have the Page of Cups in reverse. Again, he's kind of brother-sister card energy with the Justice card reverse. It's a satellite. Am I picking up on things? Am I ready to receive? Can I believe in the impossible, that pigs could fly? Got a little flying pig there in the corner. And we also see this sort of energy of not wanting to kind of come back down to earth. It's a different person because the pants look a little bit different. The trousers look a little different on this, but sometimes I view this card as almost like an overprinted. So like we're seeing both. He's trying to ground his emotions because this is his feet on the ground, but he's also missing something. So I think, when we were talking about the Nine of Cups card earlier, what can happen sometimes is we think it has to be all or nothing. I think it's somewhere in the middle. You can actually have the fun and you can also get to work. And this is where the opportunity is really over the next week or so. Or for some of you, it's going to take longer than that. I'm telling you, with the equinox energy, this particular reading can hold true for the next 3 months. So as you're looking at the next quarter of the year, really trying to find the balance between passion, joy, and practical energy is going to be so important. And of course, I like the discerning energy here. He is thinking, I don't know, should I or should I not? So definitely be discerning with opportunities that come knocking to you. It should feel good. You should trust yourself. You should trust who you're working with, and you should definitely have the ability to say no. Okay. All right, we've got the Three of Cups here in the outcome. Yay for this one. I'm happy. Celebration, new love, new opportunity, new people coming into your life, fun. All of this is setting you up for something wonderful, and I like it. And it could be any and all of those things. Are you feeling a little shy? Are you feeling a little bit uncertain? Like, can I make this happen? What will people think? You shouldn't, based on the card that I'm seeing here. This can also be an indication that less is more. So the 10 of Cups is a lot of fun. The 6 of Cups is a lot of fun, but 3 of Cups is nice. It's brotherly, sisterly energy. It can just be a small group of people that you really like. So count your blessings not in the multitude and the quantity, but the quality. And then celebrate each and every day and step as one of those little gifts here. So when is the last time you had like a trip, a vacation, or a fun night out with someone that you enjoyed? It would be great to do that because that's going to bring you, you're like, how is this helping me surrender to the call? It's helping you because you're going to find some support there. Find a group where the people really can lift you up a little bit and then talk about your dreams to them a little bit. And then you have this little like cheerleading squad behind you saying, you can do it. How's it going? What's going on? Then they help you with the accountability that we're seeing here. A couple of quick notes. For some of you, there could be more than one option on the horizon for you. Some of you may not be ready to commit. The 3 of Cups is very non-committal. So in relationships, it's dating, but it may not be dating exclusively. When you're looking at opportunities, you may feel like you want to freelance, you want to hedge your bets, etc. So the only thing that I'm seeing that is a little bit of a question mark to me as far as like, what are you looking for? Are you ready? I think the most important thing is, are you ready to commit? Because I'm picking up on just a little bit of an internal questioning that you have, which is, but what if this happened? Or what if this happened? So if there are things where there are multiple opportunities in front of you, you kind of owe it to yourself to give the present opportunity 100%. These other things there can always be doors that open and close. If there's something that's more alluring to you, go there. But get really committed on that, because I love the Three of Cups, but I don't want to end on it for this kind of reading because it's almost too open. Now, if you are thinking of freelancing, this is a great card. And if you have a small business or something like that, this is great. These cards together. This is word of mouth. This is a lot of people wanting to come back. This is positive energy, and this can be you doing more than one thing. And maybe that's what's necessary for you. Maybe it isn't just a title or a job. Maybe your role is this and this. We see a lot of actors that are an actor, a producer, a writer, a director. So maybe you have a bunch of slashes in your title, and that will help you. So just figure out what those slashes are, what those different roles are, and make sure that you don't get so stretched with all of those. I think 1 to 3 would be great, but then focus again most of the energy on one of those, and then you can juggle the other 2 if you need to. I just want to see clarity there, and I think that will help out. Let's go into the next portion of the reading. We're going to expand it to health, wealth, love, and destiny. It takes a slightly different sort of flavor each time I do one of these special topics. So as I'm looking at surrendering to the call, I'm going to see if the call is in any one of those areas and if there's a block in any one of those areas for this. Okay? So we're going to start with your health card. So one thing that's going on here is, for some of you, either you're pushing yourself too hard, someone's pushing you too hard, or someone's pushing you away. There's that energy of push, or I can't do this, or how's it going to happen? So the surrender piece is important because, when we were looking at the Prisma deck earlier that had the winds of change blowing in, one of the things that it taught us was it's so much more beneficial sometimes to just move with the energy of transformation than to move against it. So surrendering is key. Like when you meditate, you call in protection so you can relax and you can receive, and you're not worried about what you're doing. That's why I've let you kind of behind the curtain a little bit when we light the candles. It's a nice safe space because we've set this beautiful intention to be present, to be guided by the light. So set your intention and let it go. And if anyone pushes you, or if you're pushing yourself too much, that actually it's kind of like friction that is going to lessen the effectiveness and lessen the speed that the wheel of change can move forward in. So try not to let that happen, okay? Standard disclaimer applies whenever I'm looking at anything, but especially when we're looking at the health cards. You are sort of in charge of your own body. I'm just looking at energies around you that can lead to happier or healthier sort of life, but work with a professional if you need to. Really quickly, looking at health cards here, here's what I'm picking up on. Again, accountability. That was the other word that I missed when I talked about this earlier. If you're going to do something, be accountable, stick with it. And if there's something in your life that presents a temptation, ask for help or do your best to walk away from that, okay? So temptation and accountability, those are the number one sort of triggers when it comes to not necessarily being the healthiest. Emotional stress, anxiety, maybe even depression could also be coming in for some of you. When you balance your life, when you say no, when you move past whatever it is that's kind of been weighing you down, I do feel like this can be overcome. Ultimately, most of the cards are pretty good. We didn't get the Tower, we didn't get the Ten of Swords, we didn't get the Five of Pentacles. So I actually feel it's mostly you being honest with yourself and really focusing on emotional and mental health. So oftentimes that gets overlooked by our medical doctors out there. They're just focused on take a deep breath and let's take your temperature and what's going on. But good doctors will check in and say, how are you truly feeling and what's going on with how you've been dealing with the pandemic and if there's been a death or whatever it is. So if you need to talk to someone, do that. And that can be any level of help, whether it's friend or doctor, it doesn't matter, or professional counselor, etc. Mental health comes through loud and clear as you go through the change. That makes a lot of sense because change creates stress. Stress sort of are fed by our emotions. And stress is really a reaction to stimuli around you. So are you going to kind of give into that, or are you going to just move past that? So reach out. Everybody processes stress and emotional sort of like emotions differently, I should just say. So whatever works for you, please pay attention to that. That's the strongest thing that came through. All right, let's move on to your wealth card. We have the beaver in reverse. And so to me, this is actually a lack of a block. I think of a beaver and it makes a dam, right? And so when that card is reversed, I actually see a breakthrough happening for you when it comes to finances. It could also show that if you've been stressing yourself too much, there'll just come a point where you can't deal with it anymore. So the sooner you let something go, whether it's, if it's a debt, you're going to stop putting, you're going to stop sort of like spending. If it's an opportunity, you're going to let the breakthrough happen so you can see what comes next. You can't hold in the current pattern. So there is some sort of a major shift with respect to work, life purpose, money. For those of you in retirement, it can also be like how you're spending your time, energy, and resources. We got to move past the block. I do see an interesting sort of movement here. To me, this is a reinvestment or cashing in on something. Some of you might be selling a house. Some of you might be selling an investment opportunity or property or something like that. I also see you taking something from savings, some of you, and deciding to invest in yourself. Just make sure that you're committed. The Seven of Swords and the Three of Cups can be a lack of commitment. If the commitment's in place, you're solid. If it's not, take some time. Take the full quarter that I talked about, the next 3 months, before you really make that leap of faith happen. Specifically looking at business or money or life purpose, it does feel like many of you need to step out of something. So the Three of Swords and the Justice card reversed can say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not happy. I don't like the territorial energy, the cliques. And you're going to be better off for that, okay? Many of you are also choosing to do something that just creates more happiness in your life. We see the little heart in the hands on this one here as well. So find someone who truly supports you and be discerning like he is until you find that support that you need. Less is more. It's not about a big trip or an expensive trip or how many people that you're traveling with or whatever. For those of you that want to do something, choose that small little gathering that we see with the Three of Cups. 1 or 2 friends can make all the difference. And I know we're this is sort of like some relationship energy too, but that's okay because it's leading us into the next piece here and looking at love. Overall, I'm happy with what I see when it comes to wealth and career because we have great resources here and we see this sort of leap of faith or investment here. And altogether, I like it. Just a need to sort of step in the right direction. All right, let's take a look at love and relationships. We have the vulture spirit coming through here. Very interesting that they chose to highlight. It's a scavenger. It eats other things that have already passed away. It hunts as well, but nothing's wasted. So it kind of picks things to the bone. So this is a really interesting thing to come through for relationships. If we could abstract it a couple levels, one thing that I would say is no opportunity is a wasted opportunity. And no relationship is a waste of time. Waste is what we're looking at. And regret. So some of you might be looking at time spent and you're thinking to yourself, gosh, I wasn't happy. I should have changed. I should have done something different. Why didn't I do it sooner? Why did it take so much time? So basically, there is no waste. What happened for many of you is you might have met an amazing group of people that you wouldn't have met otherwise. You might have discovered your true voice. You might have gotten that final push that you needed to just say, enough now, and a resounding enough, okay? So there's no waste. Quickly, I'd like to move through 3 different types of relationships. Those of you that are looking for love or a relationship, I usually start, if you're in a relationship, looking for a relationship, or single and happy. For those of you in a relationship, it can also be family or a coworker sort of thing as well. It's wherever you're putting the most time and energy. But looking at love, looking at relationships, the biggest challenge for many of you is it feels like one party was doing more than the other, or that you feel like you've been wronged. There could have been something going on in your life where someone just showed their true colors. They said they do one thing, they did another, or they lied outright, or they just weren't the person you thought they were. In this case, listen to justice. Move on. When someone says who they are or shows who they are, it's powerful. It can be painful, but it's also powerful. If someone ever in your life says, you're too good for me, or I don't know why you're with me, or somehow is kind of giving you an okay to not be in that situation, you really want to listen. Or it's just say, I'm never going to be able to be, they could even be saying, you're not good enough for me, or something like this. Whenever they reveal either their belief that they're better than you or their lack of self-worth, it isn't necessarily your job to fix that. The exception would be children. Of course, we want to help them grow and help them see past it. But if you're looking at a potential partner, or if you're looking at your partner and they say, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, you shouldn't be with me, why are you with me? You really want to listen to each one of those prompts, because that's the universe speaking through them. So if you've had enough, the cards here are saying, that's okay. There's a lot of love and support. There's a lot of opportunity knocking in the future. But you have to make the decision for yourself. I won't tell you to do it, but I will tell you to listen to your heart, and I will tell you to listen to them. And also know that the actions speak louder than words. I'm sorry it'll never happen again, but you see that it actually does. So they can communicate in their actions, or they can communicate in their words. If you've had enough, all the other cards that we have in this spread are positive. So feel free to move on. Otherwise, as we look at this, for some of you, that commitment is a commitment that you're going to keep. They need to invest. They need to invest equally in this opportunity. The main thing that I'm seeing here for some of you is there's a question mark. Is this still what I'm looking for? Is this still the person? Is this still the one? Am I still the same person? So it feels like, this is a natural ebb and flow of any relationship. Sometimes when you've been together for a while, you've changed, and you just look and you think, but I love this person. Yes, this is it. But for some people, the question lingers, and if it lingers, then you need to do some soul work, and you need to talk to your partner, and maybe you need to talk to a counselor. But the good news is, if you decide to move on, all of the other cards look good. If you decide to work on it, it can also be good, but the accountability piece is key. So I think for some of you, probably having a third party to kind of help negotiate that will be fine. If everything's good in your marriage right now, the biggest things that I see here is a disagreement around money. We have money, someone not necessarily telling the truth about that. Maybe there was a purchase or decision surrounding that. There's some emotions around this. Maybe there was also something said that leaked out a little bit, because these two cards can be gossip. So you need to work on that. There is a little bit of work to be done in relationships. I will be honest with that. When it comes to business, you may be better on your own right now if you're going to start something new. Definitely get all the legal documents in order to get like a patent or non-disclosure or some sort of protection to make sure that your idea is solid. So moving this a little bit into the professional partnerships, I would say I would heed the warning of this. This is someone who can't keep their mouth shut. So you want to be careful with that when it comes to trade secrets or important information. And if you say something, it will get back to them too. So just be careful, because I see the full circle of the Seven of Swords and the Three of Cups coming through on that. All right, if you're single and looking right now, really take your time to get to know someone. Take this full 3-month period to have fun and develop in that relationship. It looks like it could be good, but there is something that they're not telling you, you're not telling them. So just be honest. I think giving it enough time for that to come through would be key. We actually have a couple of options here. We have the Knight of Wands, and we have the Page of Cups here. So some really good energy around fire and water coming in. Slightly younger or slightly more playful because of the Knight and Page instead of a king or a queen. So if that's what you're looking for, then that looks good to me. I think for many of you, though, the focus is on finances, self-care, self-worth, education. You can get so much more sort of progress and energy done there, and maybe make some friendships there that would be important. For those of you that are single and happy, all of what I said just applies with the being able to kind of like step forward or move forward in your life. Trust yourself. I think for everybody, that's another message that comes through. Trust your heart, trust your intuition. Trust is essential. And for some of you, that's been a missing piece. So if you don't have that trust, then this is a house of cards and it can't go any further. So work on trust and work on what it is that you're looking for as well. The Three of Cups, even when we were just looking at it in broad strokes, is sort of scattered a bit. So really convey to your partner what it is that you're looking for. Okay, so across the board. Ultimately, your outcome cards are beneficial and good here, Knight of Wands and Three of Cups. But there is some tricky stuff here, some forgiveness, some honesty issues, and some imbalances that need to be sort of remedied before you step into the next portion. Let's take a look at your destiny card. We have the lily for this beautiful, beautiful painting here. It almost reminds me of, what is it, Georgia O'Keeffe or whatever that used to paint these. So with the lily card, first of all, lilies need a little bit of care. This type of like a canna lily or there's some of they actually need a little bit more water and a little bit more care than one would think. So I would say, in order for you to get that beautiful blossom, are you truly taking care of things, taking care of yourself, nurturing whatever it is that you want to work on, and understanding that the blossom's not nice, but it doesn't last nearly as long as the leaves and the roots and all the other things are going to be around. So when the moment comes, whenever it's if it's a synchronicity that you've opened up and you have an opportunity presented to yourself, step through that by all means. That little skeleton key that we saw that was kind of saying, are you ready? Yes, I hope you are ready right now, because this opportunity doesn't hold true or hold tight forever. Here he is. So for many of us right now, the lily is like that blossom, and the blossom is reminding you that there is this little opportunity on the horizon, and now is the time to say yes. This is also saying, I'm going to shine. When a flower opens, it unfurls, just like we saw the sun catchers that I was putting in my presentation earlier, the sunflowers and the poppies. Open up and really receive. This is also a vessel. I mean, it holds a little bit of water, some of these lilies. So receive. To me, this is a big old Ace of Cups, this lily. So I'm ready to receive love and happiness, blessings, different types of abundance, things I didn't even imagine, all in the highest forms. It's not just money and it's not just romantic love, but the Ace of Cups can be your heart's desires coming true. Before we transition into the next portion, I want to take a look now at the big idea. The big idea is the big answer for you. So, we have an interesting sort of thing here, movement or change. And it's the call. So let's just pull a card, and I'll do my best to look at it from those three different words. What a perfect card to come through for the big idea. So we have the world here. And this is really, really a beautiful one here too, because we can kind of see her just stepping through and embracing. So looking at the three different words that I was talking about. So surrender. So the world card with the lens of surrendering is saying, sometimes you feel like the world's coming down on you, or that it's just too much to take in at once, like a sandwich. You want to eat the whole thing in one bite. You can't do that. So the world has opened up for you, a portal. So you're just going to take a step at a time, a bite at a time, a drink at a time. It's not going anywhere. As long as you start to move through it, as long as you say yes, it'll just keep coming, okay? So the surrender piece is just saying, I surrender to it, and I don't have to have it all come in at once. It can kind of trickle through, and then eventually it starts to be more fluid, and eventually it surrounds you. That helps you avoid the sort of feeling of being drowned by all of this stuff at once that the moon card showed us. All right, so just nibble on the opportunity, take it in one little step at a time, and I think that's key. So focusing on move, I think that actually I answered the question here. You have to move with the world card. The change is saying that this is a bookend. So after the world comes the Fool. You're going to have a time to rest in the future. That time may not be right now. There's a lot of attention on you. There might be a lot of eyes on you as you move through the world, because the world card is associated with publication, dissemination, distribution, discussion, visibility, all of that. But it doesn't last forever. That spotlight, just like this flower, it doesn't last forever. So just be strong and stand tall during this. And then following this is going to be some quiet time with the Fool. What's next? What do I want to do next? So I think the big thing here to remind yourself of is, as long as I'm moving, I'm growing. My speed is going to be different than others, just like the little snail and the Nine of Pentacles. And ultimately, I just have to accept whatever I can accept at this point, and the channel will open up. It's like intuition, right? If you practice consistently every day, the third eye opens more, the crown chakra opens more, the energy flows through you more, it gets easier. So any path in your life, the world card reminds you of that. slow and steady, consistently, and eventually it just sort of becomes something bigger than you imagined. It takes on a life of its own. We see this sometimes in like a business that you start up. Sometimes a relationship does that too. It just all of a sudden, this is someone that you never imagined that, you know, you could be so connected to. As I look for my puppy in the background, who can't imagine life without little Apollo. He's like, Dad, I'm hiding from the camera. Give me my privacy. All right, so that was a great sort of like closing card there. We have a couple of things that remain, so I want you to stick around. I just want to tell you what's next. I'm just checking here. We've been through every single piece of this except for the meditation and the final card. The final card is really great because this is going to give you a chance to specifically say something about the change that you want to make. So ask the question silently that you haven't had a chance to sort of see just yet. So maybe it's about timing, maybe it's a yes, no, maybe it's something else. Just focus on it and I'll do my best to pull as many threads as I can from that final card. A couple of quick notes here because I don't say it that much because there's a lot to talk about, but if you're brand new, first of all, welcome. Before we do anything else, do me a favor and subscribe. It's 100% free. It helps the channel grow and it helps others find this video. So it's just a nice way to show support. Same thing with the like button. The bell is a way for you to opt into the frequency of how much you want to get notifications. Join me on social media. I post a lot of serene pictures now on Instagram. I've decided to kind of like take a different approach on that. So if you want to just see some of the pictures that I feature on my slides, you can follow me on Instagram and on Facebook. And I also send out tweet reminders whenever I am doing something new on the channel here. Okay. Thank you to all that have showed support today. I'm going to acknowledge that at the end, but I just wanted to call that out. Also, thanks to the support of my moderators, Maria and Dakota. If you ever need more information, you can also go to my website. I know we're a little bit at the end here of the time, so I'm going to get into the meditation. While I'm getting set up, I'll give you an opportunity right now to vote on which instrument, and then we'll answer the final question that you have. You can use a crystal pyramid, or I can play the singing bowl. All right, so for today's meditation, I was so inspired by the sun. Really, I think that's what we're going to use is the sun. And we're going to imagine like watching, I actually think like seeing the sun at noon where it's directly overhead, there's no shadows, would be a really great sort of meditation for us today. So close your eyes and focus now on being in your safe space. It would be great if we could do something outdoors. So imagine, if you will, that you are outside, maybe in a forest or at the top of a mountain or even in your own backyard. But wherever you are safe. You don't hear or see anyone for miles. It's just you, your breath, and the sun above you. And as you close your eyes and kind of lean up towards the sun, you just feel that energy cascading around your face, soaking it into each and every pore, and you just feel like you've plugged into something amazing. It's like you've come home to your soul's energy. As you drink in the solar energy, you feel love, joy, passion, power, charisma, strength, and you feel in this moment that your heart, your mind, your thoughts can reach out and, just like a ray of sunshine, touch, bless, and bring to life whatever it is that you want to see. So as we meditate, we're going to keep it simple today. Just see a perfect disk of light around you. See yourself seated, legs crossed, hands in a lotus position, breathing. And if you want to, kind of like the Vimana in Eastern sort of mythology, you could imagine that solar disk beneath you allows your subtle body to take a trip and to look around and to survey things and to see that the path is going to be easier. For the rest of you, just receive that radiation, that light, that energy, and then allow it to spin each and every one of your chakras lighter, brighter, faster, so that as you step out the door today, you're going to have this fiery energy so that you are going to attract opportunities. You're going to feel optimistic. You're going to see through shadow in your life. You're going to be able to make a difference, okay? So just focus on being the fire, being the energy, being the source, and I'm going to help you in this meditation as I play the singing bowl. So just take a few deep breaths, relax, and I'll be back afterwards to take a look at your final question. Take one final breath. On the exhale, gently open your eyes. And seal your intention with this thought. You are more than worthy of any opportunity that presents itself. You are ready for any blessing that the universe chooses to gift you. Step through those opportunities, embrace these truths, and see what possibilities and opportunities avail themselves to you. Let's focus now on the final card. So I'd love for you to, if you haven't opened your eyes already, open your eyes and think about the question that you have for me, whether it's big or small. Let's see what's coming through for you. Okay, so we have the Eight of Wands coming through with this final card. And the Eight of Wands is a pretty good message and a very positive one at that. So is a yes, no, it's a yes. But let's just talk about what it means. For many of you, one of the biggest challenges in this next step of your life is going to be how to maintain momentum, how to not lose yourself in the sort of bigger energy that's going around you, and also how to organize all of this action, because the Eight of Wands is a community card. It's a kind of hidden community card. There's a lot of people that are moving and there's a lot of things that are happening. And what can happen sometimes is we can just feel like, is my voice still being heard? Am I just going with the motion? And one of the big opportunities for you this month was to possibly decide to take a right or a left turn. I think you're on a great path right now. And I think that there might be more kind of like twists and turns as you move forward. So I see momentum, I see busyness, and I see support. Speak up, ask questions, and don't be afraid to keep sort of like redirecting yourself as needed. That's the only sort of cautionary note that I would say with the Eight of Wands. By and large, it's a really good card for business because it's a predictable cadence of business. In life, it shows a lot going on. And in your head space with ideas, it shows a lot going on. So organization, management, and focus help maintain the integrity of the Eight of Wands. Eight of Wands can lead to fatigue, however, so make sure that if you're selling products or services, or if you're working or volunteering or giving too much time and energy away to others, that there is some sort of recuperation, because this can eventually empty out the battery, all right? But overall, it's an outstanding card for the final card. It's pretty positive for me, and I'm excited to see what comes through next for you, okay? So there you go. The one last thing with the Eight of Wands is don't be afraid to look around and don't be afraid to ask for help, because there is support. So now we're done. All right, I want to take a moment to just give gratitude and thanks to everybody. Thanks to my moderators for sticking around. Thanks to everybody for sticking around. We're over today. There was just a lot to talk about, so I may look at seeing if I need to cut back in the future, like one of the sections, but there was just a lot to talk about today, so I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, so give me one moment to welcome any new members. While I'm doing that, thank you to everybody that's been a longtime supporter. Thanks to Patreon supporters and members that have been here for a long time. I can see it when some of you put your thank you up there that you've been a member for like 2 years or something like that. So thank you so much. To the new folks that joined today, I'd like to just extend a welcome. So let me put on my glasses and say welcome. All right, so we have a bunch of folks that have rejoined as well as joined. Sarah, thank you for rejoining after 11 months. Yasmina, thank you for joining, brand new member. Kimber, welcome back, rejoining after 2 years. Good to have you here. Let's see, Tinks, thank you for being a brand new member. Cynthia Stella, welcome back after 2 months. Carly-Ann DeHart, thank you for joining, brand new member. Let's see, Rosalie, and I think that was everybody for the last 12 to 24 hours. So thank you to all you folks for being a great part of this. Now for the folks that gave back with supers, give me 1 second for super chat and super stickers. A reminder that on replay, you can also do super thanks. Looks like we have a decent amount today, so I'll try to get through it. I just want to say thank you in advance for helping out. Jody Frazzi, thank you for kicking things off today. I appreciate that with 2 donations right in a row. We have Sonette LaRue, thank you very much. Isha Marie, good to see you again. Ashley Mayfield, Tahoe, Michelle Buckoff, let's see, Bonnie Kuparian, Melanie Schaefer, Joyce Morris, Melanie Filure, I think it is. Susanna, thank you. Susanna V. I'm not going to try to say the last name, but hopefully I said the first name correctly. Cheryl Beam, let's see, Care, Cathis L, Missy Kavanaugh Carrier, I think it is. Thank you. Georgianne, Lucy Rodriguez, Jules in July. Let's see, Kiolomin, I hope I said it correctly, or Kiolomin. Jules in July again, thank you. Kathy Ahern, the Mad Monica 11, Lucy Rodriguez, Mahima Lalit, We Are Out Here Effect, Lily, Taz Halloween, 2 in a row, thank you. JG, Wendy Wright, Orion 4848, Gina Gonzalez, Christina Ambries, Yasmina, April Rain, twice in a row, thanks. AB, Crystal McKnight, Marushia, thank you. Trina Anderson, Elizabeth Quigley, Robin Redman, and let's see, 2 last ones, Dark Star Alchemy and Ali Stewart. I think I got everyone. Let me take a double check here to make sure that I didn't miss somebody at the last minute. Just a thanks to Georgianne for that 14 months of membership, Ms. Jocelyn C., Alexa Byers, and I think that's it. All right, thank you everybody. What a great showing that we had today, and really cool energy to work with. Remember with the equilibrium today to focus on the positive and to put the energy into that, because that's where you're going to be led, and that's kind of what comes through with the 8 of Wands that we pulled at the very end. But both the big idea card and the final card are amazing here. So a lot of movement, a lot of growth, and it looks to be, to me, like there's going to be a great 3 months ahead of you. All right, take care, everybody. I'll be back again tomorrow. Next week, I'm going to be reading Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius on Monday, Thursday, and Friday. We'll be coming back next weekend for another special topic, and then I'll have Pisces the following week. All right, until then, love and light. Take care of yourselves. Again, much love and light to my moderators as well for being here the whole time. All right, take care, guys. Bye-bye.